Hi, my name is Patricia Ford, and I am from Fort Worth, Texas. And I'm here to tell my story, how my journey began with the diagnosis of tonsil cancer and cancer of the lymph nodes. It began, I guess, October 2019. I started off with a cough, and from the cough, it began with a lump in my throat. I kept telling my husband my throat feel funny. It's a knot back there, and he was like, "Oh, you'll be all right." And then, so I went to a neighborhood doctor because my primary care physician, he wasn't in. So I just opened my mouth. It was really, really red. I think I just drank some lemonade, and my throat was really red. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you need to go to the doctor." So, like I said, my primary care wasn't in. We went to what we call a neighborhood doctor in Texas. And as soon as I opened my mouth, she said, "Oh, yeah, you have a throat infection. We're gonna give you some, what was it? Some antibiotics." So they gave me a pack of antibiotics for 6 days, and I took it for the 6 days, and it didn't work. I kept telling myself, "Well, my throat it feels the same, nothing." So he said, "Well, call your primary care." So we did. I called Dr. Truman, and he got me in, and he said, "Well, it looks like it's your tonsils, so I'm going to refer you to a ENT." So he referred me to the ENT, and
which is the ear, nose, and throat.
yeah, ear, nose, and throat doctor. And right away they put me on an antibiotic, a 6-day antibiotic, and prednisone. And told my husband, I said, "This still is not working." So I called back, and they got me in, and they said, "Well, we're going to send you to have a CT scan." So by this time, it's like the first week in December. So we went and had the CT scan done with dye. And yeah, I walked in the office by myself, not thinking, if that was going to show anything. And so then they come in and say, "Well, we want to do a biopsy." And I was alone. And I'm like, "A biopsy? Okay, that's not good. A biopsy, they want to do a biopsy." So I did the biopsy, called my husband crying. They want to do a biopsy. He said, "Well, okay, babe, you'll be all right." And so I did the biopsy. And then a week later, we went back to the doctor, like December 18th. This was my Christmas present. It was like, "Okay, God, he's like, I hate to break the bad news." So it's on December 18th, 2019. So we go in and we sit down. The first thing he walks in, and it was no gentle way. He just began to say, "You have cancer of the tonsils." And then he just began to proceed, to say, "You're going to have this surgery. We're going to have to remove your tonsils." And I'm thinking, wait, hold up. Okay, let me just grasp the thought of I have cancer, and he just talk about all these horrible things we're going to have to do,
Yeah.
take your tonsils out, and then you're going to have to do radiation, and then he said, "Well, you might not have to do chemo, but you're definitely going to have to do radiation, and then the surgery is not like a normal tonsillitis surgery. It's more in depth." And I'm thinking, "Oh my God, I don't want to do this." The whole time he said, I was like, "Lord, I don't want to do any of this, what he's talking about." So, so that was my Christmas.
It was pretty rough.
Yeah, that was our Christmas present. He's like, "I'm sorry to tell you this news the week before Christmas." And so we went through the holiday, the best as we could.
It was pretty devastating. It was like we were both punched in the gut, and she was punched in the gut, and wasn't nothing I could do about it, but absorb as much as her pain as I could. It was pretty rough having somebody tell you that you have to do this, you have to do that, and you think death, because you think cancer is always here to do that. And I'm talking to the doctor and asking, "Can we get a handle on this?" Yes, we can. But as things progressed, and she went to more follow-up treatments and more exuberant cost. And later, she started meeting some of the people that were going to do some of the more chemotherapies, the different therapies, and it was just getting worse. The news was just getting worse and worse and worse. It wasn't getting better.
So it's got to be something out there better for me than this. I'm like, this is not the quality of life that I want to live. I don't want to go the rest of my life with a dry mouth or kidney issues or anything. You know, I just kept going, and I'll call my husband. I'll be crying on the phone.
It's just too much.
It's just too much. I say, baby.
She cried often. She said it's too much.
It's just too much. Just too much. Every time you go, it's just something. It was nothing, never positive to me. It was, I mean, to some people who thought, you know, okay, this is my only route that, you know, that it might have been all they had, but I kept saying I kept talking to the Lord every day. I was like, it's got to be something better out there for me than going this route. And so what I did was I called one of my godmothers. She's in California. I hadn't told her about my diagnosis. And she knew it was something wrong because she had called me during the Christmas and she said, there's something wrong with my Patricia, but I don't know what it is. So I finally called her, told her what was going on. And she didn't tell me what to do. She prayed immediately when I told her. She began to pray for me. And I felt the lifting when she prayed for me. And before we got off the phone, she said, daughter, look, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but whatever you decide to do, I am with you. But the only thing I'm going to ask you to do when you get off the phone with me is Google. And I'm like, okay, Google. So I'm like, okay. So immediately I got off the phone with her. And I Googled. I said, okay, God, what am I supposed to Google? She didn't tell me what to Google or nothing. She just said Google. So I Googled. I said, okay, alternative medicine for cancer. New Hope came up. It was the very first one. It came up. And I was in the bedroom by myself. My husband was in the living room watching TV. And so I began to read all the specs on New Hope. And I watched the videos of all of the testimonials of everybody, you know, who had been here. And within an hour of just sitting and meditating, a peace, well, when I clicked on it, it's like a peace just came over me. It was just like, and I had never, since I had been going through this whole turmoil, I have never had peace. But I felt when I clicked on this website, I felt the peace of God come over me like I hadn't felt in months. And so, like I said, I began to read. And then I went in there and I told my husband, I said, babe, I think I found what I want to do. He's always been supportive. He said, babe, this is your body. He's like, so whatever you want to do, whatever I got to do, I'm with you. I'm behind you. So that made me feel good because he's always been there praying for me, lifting me up. You know, when I feel like I'm weak, he's always been there. I'm by your side. I'm here with you. You're not alone. And so it let me know, okay, he said, I don't care what it costs or nothing. He said, this is your body. And if this is what you want to do, we're going to do it. And so I called my sister and I told her what I had found. And I also called my friend, which is my sister-in-law, Denise. And she's a nutritionist, herbalist and nutritionist. And I got everybody on it. This was like a Thursday night, January the 18th? No, 15th, something like that. And so anyway, we got them on there on a Thursday night, and we emailed the facility, New Hope, left a message for them to call us on Friday morning, and they did. Bright and early, 9:30, I got this call from Eli, very nice gentleman who works here, and he took my information. And then Mr. Larry O'Toole, after that, he called me and set up an appointment. I had my sister, my husband, and Denise we were all on the phone together to kind of go over what to expect, what all
Whatever it's all
procedures
about. Yeah.
procedures that they do here, what makes them different than going, doing the regular chemo and radiation treatments and stuff. So after getting off the phone with Mr. Larry O'Toole, everybody was like, sound hopeful, because I really felt like I had no hope, because I didn't want to do the traditional medicines and things that the regular doctors, medical field wanted to do. I just couldn't see myself doing it. But after getting off the phone with him and everything, I felt hopeful. I felt alive. I felt like I can do this, and this is what God's plan was for me, for a better way of life than doing the regular chemo and radiation and just the chemicals that's just going to destroy my body. And so everybody here has been wonderful at New Hope Unlimited. We got our paperwork going. Called Ms. Nancy, who works in Arizona. She called us and got our paperwork going, helped us, tell us what our funding would need to be. So the journey has been really easy, really simple. I mean, God just kind of opened the door. I mean, I called Friday. I had to get my medical papers, which I went to my ENT doctor that Monday to get the paperwork. They didn't give me any trouble, so they let me get the paperwork, send your blood work down here so they can make sure, you're a candidate and whatever, and so they did. By Monday evening, they let me know, okay, you're a candidate, you can come down here. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, good. So now we just got to come up with the funding. And God, I just know it was a God orchestrated thing, because it's just like one thing after another. The money came through, airfare came through, at the doors, he just kept opening up the doors for the opportunity for me to be here. And so I knew that I was on the right road, and this was the path that I was supposed to take. And so Monday, like I said, Monday I got my the medical record in, and then we got the money together. Nancy helped us coordinate all that, getting everything together for the finances. And then I went to my ENT because I had to have a biopsy. On Thursday, I went to get my results for the biopsy I had on my thyroid. And so I went by myself. My husband didn't go. I wish he had. But I had to face that giant by myself. So I went into the ENT, and he said, well, good news, the thyroid didn't come back, no cancer in your thyroid. We just want you to check it every year. So he said, so when you going back to see the oncologist? And I said, I'm not. And that's exactly what you heard when I said, when total silence. His eyes got big. He said, well, what do you mean you're not? I was like, I decided to do alternative. And then he said, oh. I was like, yeah. And then he proceeded to say, well, where you going? And I told him, I said, I'm going to New Hope. So he did, like, okay. And then he proceeded to say, well, I haven't heard of this one, but most of the cancers, they come back. And I'm just thinking, I'm not here to argue with this doctor.
But even he said, even after everything that they do, it could come back. So they beat you and destroy your body, and then it comes back. I mean, it doesn't make sense. But the doctor that we talked to with New Hope, he made sense when he talked about alternative medicines and what it takes to allow the body to heal itself. And it just makes sense. Our bodies are made and designed. He said we will help the body do what it does best, and that's to heal itself. And that was reassuring. That was alternative. And nobody thinks about that. but to have somebody give you the confidence that there is a strategy, there is a process in place to help you in these situations that does not destroy, your body, your liver, your jaws. I mean, it's just so much. It was very, very reassuring. And the reason why you have that peace is because your body knows it. It's not that the man tells you, your own body knows that it can do it. And that's and with us hearing that from the doctor, all of us were in agreement because our body knew it. We heard it with our own ears, and our own being is telling us that there is a better way than the strategy that they had in place, which was very, very detrimental. But that's all you know, because that's all you ever hear. And that made sense. And we wasn't getting that punch in the gut, that we've been getting. We were like in a boxing ring, you're getting beat up everywhere you go by physicians. So it made sense. So I was happy that she said, this is what I want to do. My mind is made up. And one of the doctors said this, he said, she said, what if I don't want to do it? She said, at the end of the day, he said, you are the master of your own body. And once she said that, I said, remember what the doctor said? If you don't want them to do it, they won't do it. So she said, I don't want them to do it. I said, well, you're the master of your own body. Wherever you want to go and get your treatment, that's what you do. And her mind was made up, her heart was fixed, and we made it happen. And she came down here and then had a smile on her face and been really up in her spirit about everything. And the results, we results oriented, and she's looking good, she's speaking well. It was like before she left, I could tell when I got here. When she left, she was talking like she had
something in
an
my
echo.
throat.
Yeah, an echo. And now she's even this short amount of time, I can tell the difference. She looks good. Her voice has changed. So there has to be there is something happening here, because her voice is back where it was, and this in a short amount of time. And so there's some progress being something special is happening. Something special is happening with you, and I can tell it.
Well, and I could feel it. I mean, when I first came here, I mean, I could feel the lump. I mean, I still can feel a little bit of it, but it's not like it's taking the whole left side of my...
She couldn't hardly swallow.
Yeah.
She was gagging all the time, and she was in pain. And now it is amazing. It really is amazing, and I can't put words to, because I'm with fresh ears. I come 5 days after she come here, or 6-7 days after she's come. So fresh eyes, fresh eyes see more, and my fresh ears hear more from when I hear your voice and when I see you, from when you left to 7 days when I got here. It is definitely progress. A lot of progress in a short amount of time. And this is what amazing with me. Usually we going, dramatic, long, drawn out process. But within this 7 to 10 days, this has been a tremendous progress made, and it has to be positive. It's nothing but positive.
Yeah.
Positive.
Yep. I feel positive about the treatment that I've had. The people here was great. The nurses here is great. The staff here is great. The food, it takes some adjusting because we're used to eating all the processed foods. But now I have to eat to live and not live to eat. So I'm getting my mindset, ready that I'm going to have to eat to live and not live to eat. So that's going to be, a lifestyle change. And I'm glad my husband did get to come, because I kept telling him over the phone, because I came here first by myself, that, babe, you're going to have to we're going to have to make some changes on some food because God has made food to heal us. And we have neglected to choose the right foods, to put the right things in our bodies to make our bodies heal itself, because they're made to heal itself. He created our bodies to heal itself. And coming to New Hope, it just opens the door and train you how to do the things that God has already put in place that we totally neglected to do, to keep ourselves whole and healthy. And so being here, it just opened the door for me to want to live a healthier and a better and a longer life, because you have to do, what they tell you to do. You got to eat right. You got to take your supplements, do your therapies, take your vitamins, whatever they tell you to do. You just have to have your mindset that, hey, this is better than the alternative that I had. And I'm not saying coming here is going to be the easiest thing, because, your body is aligning to the way God had wanted it to be. So some of these therapeutic treatments, the dendritics and the high ozone blood and all this, your body is not used to all of this. So it goes through some changes, which they said is good. You may get a little fever, a little chill here and there, but that is something that your body's not used to. So your body is getting back into line. So I'm not saying that, your road is going to be a bed of roses, but compared to what we got out, the alternatives and the regular mainstream, this is a piece of cake.
He said what the body needs is proper nutrition, it needs water, it needs oxygen, and it needs exercise. And then that's a quote I put in. He said, without those three things, he said, your body will try to kill you. And now we live in it. And because without all these things in place, your body literally tried to kill you. So we were just putting all those things back in place.
Yeah.
And so that he said the body will heal itself if you give it all those things: nutrition, exercise, oxygen, and water. He said the body will heal itself. Without these things, it'll try to kill you. And that's what, and we're living it now. So we just putting and that's what made sense. And when we got on the phone with the doctor, which explained it well.
Yeah.
It was awesome. This is an awesome place.